Oh, in Korea it was frightfully cold. I don't think Japan was even as cold as Korea. Uh, Korea had a wind factor that come down from Manchuria and all that up there, and the I think even the hills that were stripped by bombardments and all that sort of thing, stripped of foliage, helped to make it colder. And in one incident, we shifted camp and we had to dig a rubbish hole for the mess, for the cookhouse and so forth. And we had to pour petrol on the ground and light it before we could start digging. And then when we'd dig down about an inch or 2 inches, we'd pour more petrol in it, light it, and then start digging again. And we found that the ice went down, penetrated down for anything up to 2 feet. So that's how cold the ground was. We were all in underground foxholes sort of thing, with structure on the top and plenty of sandbags. And the only thing it could withstand pretty well everything except direct hits. Yes, there's plenty of incoming, and in fact, when we first got into the front line, it was, I didn't make the mistake, but one of my colleagues did, and said, "This is really the front line, is it? Yeah, it's quiet, isn't it?" And a couple of other blokes looked at one another that had been there a while, and they looked at their watches, and I thought, there's something going on here. But then they got up and moved, so I thought, well, I'm moving with them. And sure enough, at 4:30, in came the mortars and the shells. So they had it down to a fine art. And once you got there for a while, you fell into the normal procedures of what to do and when to do it. In fact, I always say that I got wounded in that first little episode, but the wound was on my backside, and that was because I was horizontal in a dive into the trench. As the shell exploded, a little bit of shrapnel just caught me in the backside as I was going over the top of it. But I went to the RAP with it, and they told me, no, that it wasn't a Homer. Go back to work. When I was doing the job with the flame, the infantry sergeant had dug a hole into the top of the bunker and had made me swear that I would get up and burn them out. We both knew that there was a sniper on the right flank, even if he, when he finished getting through, slipped and made the mistake of standing upright and got hit in the chest, even though he was wearing armour. The bullet penetrated his chest and he was carried out on a stretcher. So I took over after him and went up, dropped down onto the ground and lay over and fired a burst of flame down the hole. But unfortunately, he had dug at a bit of an angle, whereas it required that I had to do another shot. So I went back into the safe trench and told the people there that I would have to go back up again, and which I did do. Got up and I went down and thought I would fool the sniper by shifting my position while out of sight, doing the job by flaming down, getting the flame down where it should have went, and on getting up to my feet again to get out of it, suddenly the lights went out, and I came to some minutes later, laying in the safe trench, and my sergeant being very concerned and wondering where I got hit, as there was no blood, but soreness and a swelling on the side of the head. And on retrieving my slouch hat, it was noted that there was a scorch mark down the side of the hat from nothing tapering out to a width of a bullet and tapering away to nothing at the other end, which indicated that the bullet virtually bounced off, but flattened me on the way through. But apart from that, I was not injured. By this time, I'm company signalman, so therefore I was established in the headquarters section, and we were out on rest, out of the line on rest, like sort of thing. So we were in marquees instead of underground, and I had a stretcher. Well, I had a nice stretcher, fold up one, but I unfold it, and it was a very nice, comfortable bed. And I had my sleeping bag, and I used to sleep in my underclothes. And I had it practiced. I had my set beside me, so that if anything happened, I could just grab the set, swing it out and unplug it by the swing, and dive out and under the tent. Lo and behold, one night, the chuffer, or the heating system that we had, decided to blow up. And it blew up and burnt the orderly room down with everybody's pay books in there. But I got out and got underneath and went up to my sergeant major and banged on his tent, and he come out in his tent and he said to me, "What are you doing standing there in your underclothes with a .38 set in your hand?" Don't tell me. And I had to inform him that the orderly room was burning. Yes, it was quite a bit hilarious. Suddenly, one night, they called me up and they said, "We've got a job for you. You are to just go on patrol tonight with the Pioneer Platoon, commanded by Captain Greville. He's taking a party out to do line repairs, fence repairs and so forth." So I went out with them, but once we got out into the valley, communication was non-existent. We just couldn't get through. So I came very close to killing two of our own men that night, because the captain said to me, "Well, if your set's not much good, would you sit here," sort of thing, "and keep the flank?" He said, "That direction is the enemy." He said, "Anything coming from there is the enemy." He said, "You'll hear noises behind you with the boys carrying gear up and down." So I said, "Yeah, fair enough." Sometime later, movement ahead of me, and out of the gloom comes one figure. Then another one appeared behind him. I thought, oh, what have we got here? I've got my own gun. I removed the safety slide, took the first pressure. I thought, how many more are there? It was no more, there was only two. I thought, well, I can drop these two as easy as anything. And I'm just about to pull the trigger for the second pressure, and a voice says, where the bloody hell are we? So I said, boo! Well, these two nearly died of fright. They said, where are you? And I said, straight ahead of you. So take a pace to your right, walk straight ahead and keep going straight ahead, and you will reach the fence. And they went past me and went on, and then they still didn't see me because I was well down in the bushes. But I was shaking like a leaf after it because they came so close to shooting them. We packed up, finished the job, packed up and went to go home. I still couldn't get through. The Lance Corporal leading the patrol missed a turn and walked straight into the middle of an ambush. The Chinese were so lined out that we walked straight into the end of their flank, and they had to open fire on us, otherwise we'd have walked over them. But they were waiting for us to cross the creek and go down the other side where they had us lined up like tent pins. So they opened fire. I was third man in line. The captain was in front of me, of course. He turned around, because I had my earphones on, I couldn't hear a thing. But I could see all the fireflies. The fireflies, of course, turned out to be muzzle shots. The captain grabbed me in both hands, lifted me off the ground and threw me into the long grass. He said, get down. He said, we're ambushed. And then he carried on. The Lance Corporal got wounded and he went in a heap, and I just lay there, but before I could do anything, a Chinese soldier overrun and wanted to see if I was alive. So I thought to myself, as far as you're concerned, mate, I'm not alive. So he gave me a bit of a nudge with the toe, and I must have flinched, because he then put his burp gun into the middle of my stomach, and but he didn't pull the trigger. And just at that moment, one of his colleagues yelled out in Chinese something, and he jumped up in the air and he jumped over me and run down to wherever they were. So I sat up to have a look to see what the excitement was, and they had captured the captain. And they were just going to take the captain off, and one of the other diggers raced up and jumped on the Chinaman's shoulder. And then another bloke came up and gave him a rifle butt in the back of the head and laid him out flat and carried him out. And then they disappeared, and we started to reform then. But I was a little bit concerned that night on my one and only patrol. So, needless to say, I was very pleased that I wasn't doing patrols after that.